And then I want to go to my selection tool, click on the text, because it didn't, although I tried to do the right alignment on the paragraph, it doesn't come over quite far enough. So we're going to grab this end. Oh, let me go back in. I accidentally reverted to the type tool. I need to grab that bar that's at the end and actually just drag that over so that it's a little bit closer to the text so it's not interrupted so badly in between. Pull it just a smidge more. It should be somewhere around 1/8 of an inch between the two pieces there. And once I have that situated where I would like to have that, I can go into my layers panel. I'm going to unlock the groups on both sides. I'm going to show my background layer, collapse side 1 and side 2, and I need to save my file. We're now working on page 325 in the book. We've completed the side 1 and side 2, and we need to create a new layer, which I just did, and we're going to name that side 3 and drag that up above side 1 and side 2. The third panel should be prominent in your window, so let's zoom in a little bit on that. We're going to create a rectangle that is white, and it should fill all of the third side of the box. Pick up your selection tool, and we're going to place the box copy text file. Go ahead and accept the import options defaults, and you're going to click to create a text box that is the size of the panel inside the margins. Select all of the text and change the type formatting to 12.5 points, and we want to make that type style the ATC Coral Normal. And give it 17 points of leading. That's going to space it out a bit. Next, choose File Place, and we're going to select the Anniversary 75 Photoshop file. Make sure your Show Import Options is checked and select Place. In the resulting dialog box, make sure that Show Preview is checked and choose the Convert Layers to Objects option and then select OK. You're going to place that loaded icon on the artboard and then move it. So just stick it up there someplace and then get your selection tool and move the placed file to the upper corner of that panel. Leave about 1/8 of an inch between the placed art. So it's going to be about halfway, because remember we did a 1/4 inch. We want about 1/8 of an inch. So between the placed artwork and the where the margins are. So you're going to have to just kind of guess a little bit at that. We could bring in some guidelines, but just make it about right. With that object still selected, go up to Object, Text Wrap, and we're going to wrap the text around the image. Now go into Object Text Wrap and select Text Wrap Options. You can see we've got a 6-point offset that is running around the artwork, which doesn't work so great when we get the up in the center. So we're going to change that offset field to 12 points, which gives us a little more room. Now, that is not particularly nice to have that fantastic fudge mellows the way it is. So once you say okay to this, you can go ahead and just kind of nudge things around a little bit to get that forced down onto the next line if you have that issue. This is a good place to save. We're at the bottom of page 327 to apply transparent effects. So in your layers panel, we want to expand side 3 and expand the anniversary artwork that we placed in. Remember, we put that in as an object, so we have all of that separated out for us. We want to select the 7, just the 7. So use the target to select it, and we're going to go to Effects, and using an Illustrator effect, we're going to hit Stylize. Note that there are Photoshop effects, but if you go into Stylize there, you're only going to find glowing edges. So in the Stylize menu at the top for Illustrator, apply the drop shadow. In the dialog box that pops up, you want to select the mode of multiply. There are several that you can use. The most commonly used is going to be either multiply or screen for a drop shadow. Your opacity should be set to 50%. We don't need a harsh shadow on this. The offsets for the X and the Y axis are both going to be 0.02. We don't want a great big drop shadow, and we do want it to be somewhat blurred, so your setting is going to be 0.03. This is keeping everything to a very small amount, and then OK to apply. If you open your appearance panel and look at that, you'll see that the drop shadow has been applied to the image. In your layers panel, go into the number 5 and select just the 5, and then you can go to Effects and you can apply the drop shadow to it. Next, we want to open up the transparency panel, which looks like this if it's open. Otherwise, go to Window, Transparency, and we're going to change the blending mode, choosing Multiply. This allows the 7 and the 5 to blend together. Now select that white rectangle that we put in at the beginning of this section, and we're going to change the opacity to 80%. And you can type it in or you can drag down, either one. That's going to allow some of our background to bleed through, and save at this point.